All right. Just before we get started, can everyone see me? Any issues with audio, video, anything like that? All good?
All good.
Yeah, sweet, bro. It's all good. Good, Bree.
Awesome. Appreciate you guys joining today. If I'm looking in different places, it's because I'm still figuring out this setup. I've got my camera a little bit higher than my screen, so when I'm looking down, I'm just going through the slides. But yeah, appreciate all you guys being here and taking time out of your day. Honestly, it means a lot to me, and it's crazy to think that we're here now in just a couple of months, considering I just started this journey of posting content and personal branding. Just a few housekeeping rules. I'll put you guys on mute. We'll save Q&A till the end, but we'll have plenty of time for Q&A, so you guys can answer all your questions then. If something does pop up, any issues, just pop it in the chat and we will get cracking. All right, team. So the 30-day creator sprint. So my goal for today is I feel like I've discovered a formula that will give you guys the initial momentum you need to kickstart your personal brand online. And I want to share that with you all today. So if you've been following me for a while, you would have known I did a 30-day series where I posted content every single day for 30 days to help you guys get better at content creation. And during that series, I obviously gained a lot of followers, gained a lot of momentum, and really it enabled me to be in a position today where I have been able to start monetizing my audience in just a couple of months. And if you asked me 2 months ago, I would have been like, this is going to take way longer than the time frame it did take. And now we've crossed 30K followers and the momentum just keeps building. And I just want to share with you guys that system today, so you guys can hopefully do the same. So before we get started, let's talk about the foundations of this whole process that I'm going to be covering. So first, I want to start with the creator mindset. One of the first things I want to ask you, I want you guys to ask yourself is, why do you want to do this? I think it's a really important question to have. Whatever you're doing in life is always ask why. I know all of you guys will have your core why in your life as to why you do certain things, but start to understand that a little bit more and break it down. If you are going to be posting content, especially if you're doing something like a 30-day series, you want to really have a strong why, because there's going to be moments where you're going to lack motivation. There's going to be moments where you don't feel like doing it anymore. So if your why is strong enough, you're going to get past all those doubts and you're going to keep going. You're going to keep going because all of this does take a long time to see results. So even though we want that initial momentum, the real results actually going to happen after the 30 days. So some of the key principles that I've adopted and a lot of other creators have adopted is first, consistency. You want to improve your skills over time with repetition. Like anything in life, like going to the gym, if you do it for a long period of time, you are going to get better at it. So one of the key pillars is to have consistency in whatever it is you're doing. Avoid perfectionism. Now, this is something that I personally am still working on because I'm a bit of a perfectionist when it comes to especially creating content. I don't like to post anything unless I'm completely satisfied with it, but I'm starting to let go of that because this is a volume game. And if you're going to be producing content at a high volume, you want speed, you want that velocity. So I want to encourage you guys to follow the 80-20 rule. If it's 80% good, just post it. Most people are only going to watch your video for a couple of seconds, maybe a couple of minutes. They're going to forget about it in a day. And then before you know it, you're going to have to post another one the next day. So just avoid perfectionism. I think being self-aware is really important. Understand where you are now and where you want to be in the future. It's very easy to start comparing yourself with other creators and other people that are doing well. You start to look at how many followers they have or where they're at with their business. And I think just being self-aware of where you are at and where you want to go in the future is super important to your mindset, because it's going to help you to understand that it's going to take time, which leads me on to my next point, which is patience. Your audience is going to take time to build. If you have some initial success with followers, whatever it is, just understand that even that will eventually die down, and it's going to take time for you to keep growing to the points that you want to grow to. So the things that are worth having are worth waiting for. is a quote that I love by Tony Robbins. So once you have developed a strong creator mindset, it's one of the first key foundations to doing this, especially if you want to do this full time for a career. So just start to understand those principles. Next is niche creation. Now, knowing this will give you clarity on who you're going to actually be creating content for. Now, I know a lot of you here probably already know your niche, or like what you're going to actually be talking about. I've got Rudy, videographer, freelancer, and the other Rudy, he's a lawyer. So you guys already have an understanding of your niche and what you actually want to create content about. If you don't, I've given you a tool. So I'm going to be sharing with you guys a full Notion doc at the end of this presentation, which I've put together, which is going to cover everything that I'm talking about today in much more detail, with some exercises for you guys to complete if you're still unsure of your niche and what you're actually going to be creating content about. Now, identifying your niche is around your main interest, your secondary interest, and your mindset interest. This is what's going to keep you driven to create content within these pillars. So to give you guys an example, this is mine. So obviously content creation is my main interest. Filmmaking, photography, editing, camera gear, freelancing. It's what I've been doing for the last 5 years. So this is my main interest. But I also really love my fitness and my lifestyle. So that's my secondary interest. And self-improvement, you always want to have some kind of mindset interest. So mine's obviously discipline, good habits. So all of these things together helps me craft my one-of-one niche, who I actually am going to be creating content for. The more specific you can be, the more unique your one-of-one niche will be. So for example, using myself, a videographer who is into fitness, is Indian, and has a self-improvement mindset is going to resonate with my content. If you do this the right way, you won't be competing with anyone else, because most of us have a story to tell and there's certain characteristics that make us who we are. And if we can lean into those characteristics when we're creating content, you're automatically separating yourself from the crowd. So that's where niche creation is really important. Now, once you've understood your niche and you have the right mindset, we obviously get inspired by other creators. And I think this is the main starting point when you want to start developing your ideas. So you want to always have a list. Again, when you work through the Notion document, you'll be able to do this exercise. But viral creators, make a list of creators that are just insanely viral and start to understand like why, like what are they doing that makes them so viral. To give you an example, for me, Mr. Beast, crazy viral creator. Interest-specific creators, my favorite filmmaker is Sam Calder. Been watching his stuff for years and I absolutely love everything he does. And then Tom, I love his creative style, the way he puts out his videos. I feel like it's a style similar to the style that I put out because it's sustainable for my lifestyle. And we're going to be talking about that in a bit more detail. So make a list of all these creators and start to watch their content. Understand what they're doing, why they're doing it, what does well for them. And this is going to really help you. So identify and follow these people. Analyze viral videos from them, note what works, and use these to create the ideas for your content pillars, which we will be touching on. Dream follower. Now, this is arguably the most important part of the foundations. Before you create content, you need to know exactly who you're speaking to. For me, to give you guys an example, my dream follower is me 5 years ago. Someone who just started off picking up a camera, just getting into content creation, someone who was still working a corporate job but was thinking about leaving, someone who just started going to the gym and had no idea about the whole fitness lifestyle, eating habits. So this is who I create content for. This is my avatar. And for the last 2 months, all the videos I've made have been targeted towards this person, right? If you don't know who your dream follower is, the best place to start would be yourself a few years ago, before you're at the stage that you're at now, because you've already undergone a transformation over the last 5 years. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, but most of the time you understand this person very well and you're able to create content for them. So some things to ask yourself. Does this content relate to and build trust with my dream avatar? Does it demonstrate your authority in relation to their dream outcome? So obviously for me, I've been creating content for 5 years. I've now been in the gym for over 6 years. I've ran a marathon. I've done 2 Hyroxes. So I have knowledge in that space, which I can share. And I've also made a living of creating content. So when I talk about something, essentially you're not faking it. You have a lot more authority. And does it help my dream follower move away from their deepest fears? If you're creating the right type of content for your dream follower, you're attracting them and repelling everyone else. Stop trying to serve everyone with your content and start trying to serve one dream follower. So you can have 2 dream followers, you can have 3. I would try and keep it to 2 just to make it more specific. Otherwise it gets a bit confusing. I would try to separate it when it comes to content pillars, which we will talk about. So if you do this properly, you will have people who hate your point of view. And that's great because your dream follower will love it. And so does everyone who's just like them. The more specific you can be about who you are serving, the broader your content can be. So here's an example for you guys. So you are not a niche. You're a person making content for people who happen to like that niche. Now, this is a great way to frame it. It's gonna impact the way you actually create your content. You're gonna start looking at yourself differently. So for me, you're not a videographer. You're a person who's making content for people who happen to like videography. And if you start to look at yourself from that lens, everything will change. So that's the foundations. And now we're going to move on to content system and strategy, which is essentially systemizing an approach to post content consistently. That's going to enable you to not fall off and not just have like a random, oh, I'm going to post 5 videos this week, but I don't know what I'm posting. So what is a content system? A content system is a system you will create and follow to post your content consistently and sustainably that fits within your lifestyle and your content strategy. So this system is what's going to enable you to be consistent, and it's going to enable you to start looking at content creation as a routine. It's not something that, like, a lot of us look at content creation as, I just need to post a video, I just need to get content out. But when you start to look at it as a system, you start to have a completely different approach because it's something that becomes a routine. So you just won't miss. Like when it's part of your routine, you'll never miss posting. It becomes like part of your life essentially. So think of it as a workflow. It's a step-by-step system to follow and implement that allows you to create your content tailored to your personal circumstance. Now, all of us are different. You know, some of us have 9-to-5 jobs, some of us are entrepreneurs. We all have different lifestyles. It's important to find something that works for you and your life. So some things to consider are, do I have enough time to edit daily content? You might be someone who has all the time in the world. Like you might not even need a content system. You could probably just edit on the day and post. But inevitably, there will be days where life happens. And if you have a content system, you're still going to be someone who posts on those days. Can I film every day? Is this sustainable for my schedule? If not, how can I batch or outsource the content? Is this content authentic to me? And is this content building the audience that I want? So these are some things I want you guys to think about when creating your content system. Again, when you go through the Notion doc in your own time, you'll be answering all of these so you have a better understanding of the system that you're going to put out based on your circumstances. So some things to consider. Key elements of a content system. It always starts with ideas. Everything starts with ideas. So you need to start brainstorming ideas. Save videos as you scroll and have your ideas ready in a Notion guide. So what I like to do is on Instagram, I just create a separate saved folder. So for my 30-day series, I had an Instagram saved folder just called 30-day series. And any idea I saw or any video that I wanted to recreate, I saved into this folder on Instagram and the same on TikTok. So you can easily just refer to this and then bring those ideas into your Notion template to then script your videos. Now, this is important because we're doom scrolling all day. Like all of us are on Instagram, and having some kind of structure with your brainstorming is going to make that process so much easier for you. Now, batching content. Now, this has been absolutely life-changing for me. Honestly, before 2 months, I've never done this. I've never batched my content. So exploring the option of creating multiple pieces of content in one session. I create 7 videos, which we'll talk about in the next slide, in one day. So just like that gives me a week's worth, and I don't have to think about content for the rest of the week. Find a system that allows you to post daily. If you have high income, you can consider getting an editor. I'm not sure if any of you guys are at this stage, but if you are, that's insane. Like that's amazing. So obviously it comes down to time. So if you have the ability to hire someone to edit your content, go for it. To give you guys an example of the content system that I used during my 30-day series and what I'm using now, I would script all my videos on a Saturday. So this would take anywhere between 1 to 2 hours, where I would ideate and script 7 videos on a Saturday. So I'd go through all my saved posts on Instagram, and then I would bring them into Notion and any other ideas that I wanted to talk about, and I would start scripting them. I would film all my A-roll videos on a Sunday. So I would film all the talking head videos like this, any voiceovers that I need, and any B-roll that I needed from home. I would film all of this in one day. And then I would spend all of my Monday editing. You can script on the Sunday as well if you wanted to, or whatever day you choose. I just chose to do it on 2 different days so it doesn't become too much. And then I would just pump out 7 videos in one day. I would use the rest of the week to film B-roll. And now I don't go out of my way to film B-roll. I film my life during the week because it works with my content style. So if I'm going to shoots with clients, I would film B-roll. If I'm going to the gym, I would film B-roll. If I'm going to the cafe, working, whatever it is, I would make sure I just keep getting B-roll clips, and I'll categorize these into my B-roll folders, as you guys would have seen in a lot of my videos. And this makes my Monday so much easier because I have all my A-roll. All I have to do is really cut them up, overlay the B-roll that helps me tell that story better. So this is going to make your videos look better as well because you're just going to have a lot more clips to use and to access to convey your point to your audience. So yeah, content creation only takes up 2 to 3 days of my week, and I still have the rest of the week to work on my business, work on my online business, and to live my life essentially. If content creation is taking up majority of your time, you're not going to be able to do it sustainably. So this enables me to post every day without any stress and works with my lifestyle as a freelance creative. So I would encourage you guys to find a system that works for you. Content creation shouldn't take up all your time. You want to strive for maximum output from minimal input. So you would have to analyze what your week looks like, what your structure looks like, and what's going to really work for you. You might want to do 2 videos a day and just do that for 3 days and then not worry about it for the rest of the 4 days. So I think it's important to understand. For me, I did want to post every single day. So I wanted to have 7 videos just ready to go. So that's why I chose a system where I was able to do this. Now that we know our niche, our dream follower, and we have a content system, you can build out your content strategy. Your content strategy is essentially everything we've talked about into a plan that's going to enable you to execute your content. The only part we haven't really talked about here is content pillars. So a content strategy is what type of content you're capable of producing to make you grow. And it involves selecting a combination of content pillars. Your dream follower tells you who you're speaking to, and your content pillars will tell you what you should be saying to them. So this will give your brand a clear voice because they know what to expect from the content that you're creating and the aesthetic that you're showing off through all of your videos. Without content pillars, your ideas feel scattered because you're constantly wondering what to post. Like you don't know what what exact content is going to resonate with your dream follower. So that's where I think it's important to have content pillars, because when I'm scrolling through Instagram and I'm looking at these ideas, when I'm saving this post, I'm thinking, which content pillar is this? And automatically in my head, I know, is it fitness? Is it mindset? Or is it content creation? So for me, my videos are always circulating within these three content pillars. Again, when you go through the Notion guide, I want you guys to list this down so you have a good understanding of the 2 or 3 pillars that you're talking about exactly. The best way to pick your content pillars, what do you love talking about? Like what really excites you? Because that's going to show in the content that you create, whether it's travel, fashion, luxury, whatever it is, you need to identify what you want to be talking about. So a lot of people get confused when you're talking about niche. They think travel could be your niche, but that doesn't mean that you can't have other content pillars within your niche. Like if you're traveling, obviously you're going to be training, you're going to be working. So the way to think about it is your overall broad niche, which you'll figure out or you already know, and then have content pillars within that niche that's going to be targeted at your dream follower. So that's how I want you guys to think about content creation. What do you have real experience or authority in, obviously, so you can talk about it. We touched on that before. And what type of content does my audience engage with the most? Now, this is an interesting one because your audience is not going to engage with all of your content. So for me, I know when I post something about running or when I post something about fitness, my audience, they don't engage with it as much. Whereas if I post, how to use iPhone in the most cinematic possible way, the video goes crazy because that's my audience. Like that's what they're really interested in. But me talking about these other content pillars, me talking about fitness is what makes me me. And that's what a personal brand is at the end of the day. There's this good saying where they say, if your content can be posted by someone else, it doesn't belong on your feed. So you need to obviously post content that makes people resonate with who you are as a person. The best way to think about it is just think about a human experience. Imagine if you met someone, if you met someone traveling, and the only thing you spoke to that person about for the next 1 year was travel and like the place you guys went to. How boring would that be? So this is where content pillars are important because it helps people understand you as a person. And over time, those are the people that are going to resonate with your content the most. And those are the ones that are going to eventually become your customers. It's not the people that came there to just save your video and then left. It's the people who actually care about you. So always remember that if you have whatever number of followers you have, 1% of your followers is always going to be your true fans. So those are the fans you're always creating content for. So if you have 100,000 followers, you're not creating content for those 100,000 followers. You're creating it for that 1% that actually cares and is going to buy into your brand. So it's important to understand what type of content does your audience engage with. What aligns with my offers, services, or bigger vision? Now, if you are selling something, if you're selling a one-on-one coaching or you're selling a digital product, promoting your physical business, whatever it is, obviously you want one of your pillars to constantly be pushing that. It can be integrated within one of your pillars, or you might have a separate pillar to push your business. So this is where content pillars is important. Like obviously when I post about running, I'm not necessarily pushing a business, but if I was a PT, it would be a different story. Yep, this slide just reiterates what I showed you guys before. So that's my main interest, my secondary interest, and my mindset interest, which is essentially also my content pillars. You want your content to inspire, entertain, or educate. Now, this is just a good mental note to have when you create a piece of content. When you finish creating that piece of content, ask yourself this question. When someone watches this, do they feel inspired? Or do they feel entertained? Or do they feel educated? Because most of the time, this is what they're going to remember. If it doesn't do one of these three, then it's most likely not going to perform well. If you can do a combination of these, then that's where the video goes viral. How to build your content strategy. So basically, your content strategy is everything that we just talked about, putting it into one. Essentially, if you were to write down who you're inspired by, your niche, your dream follower, your content system, your content pillars, overall, that's what your content strategy is at the end of the day. That's the strategy you're going to implement to go and create and post your content. So this is just a recap of your content strategy. Seek inspiration. Have a good mindset. Define what videos will be good, you will be good at making, and just be self-aware about that. Have your content system, have your content pillars, and then you just honestly, you have to start posting. This is where you stop planning and you take action. It's awesome to have all of this information and have it down on paper, but at the end of the day, this is to give you guys to understand what you're actually doing, but the results are going to come from posting the content. You want to review and reflect each of these points every 30 to 50 videos. Now, I see a lot of people changing their strategy after 10 posts, after 15 posts. It takes Instagram anywhere between 20 to 80 videos to push your content to the audience that you're actually trying to target. So if the algorithm is able to understand who you're creating content for, it takes at least 20 videos for it to do that. Most people don't get to 20 videos, or it takes them 6 months to get to 20 videos. So I wouldn't change anything that you've chosen for at least 20 to 50 videos and then reflect. And that's where I think the 30-day series is awesome, because by the end of that month, you're already in a position to review and reflect. You'll have a much better understanding of your content systems, your strategy, and what you need to change, what worked. You'll have live feedback from people. So that's where the series really comes in helpful. And it fast tracks this whole process. Think about how long it's going to take you to post 30 videos if you didn't do it in a month. So those are just some things to consider when you're building out your content strategy. Don't reinvent the wheel. Stick to these proven formats until you've built a strong following. When you have a lot of followers and, you're monetizing and everything's working well, you might not need a content system. You might just get away with posting once a week. But for a lot of us at the stage that we're at, just sticking to the proven formats and just doing the bare basics is going to give you the results that you want. At the end of the day, videos go viral for a reason. And that brings me into part 3, which is content creation. So this helps a lot if you guys are going to be doing talking videos like this. But I think even if you're not doing talking videos, if you're doing a voiceover, or if you're doing faceless marketing, like you want to build a faceless personal brand, it's still important to write scripts to really understand what your video is. It's just like films, like filmmaking. Like every film starts with a script, and it's the same thing. You're essentially doing the same thing in your own way. Short form content and long form, you always want to start with a hook. Capture attention in the first 1 to 3 seconds. So in the first 1 to 3 seconds, you want to evoke an emotion or excitement from the viewer for them to continue watching your video. Honestly, this is probably the most important part. We're going to break into this further. Then as soon as your hook's done, you want to give them what they came for. Explain the value you explained in the hook. Don't make them wait too long to explain the value, because then you'll just lose them. Now, this is optional, not for every video, but have a story to validate. So either a personal experience or evidence of something that's actually real. So if you're showing personal experience, this is where you can start to show relatability, start to build more of a connection with your audience, because obviously you've given them the hook, you've given them what they came for, but then you give them a reason to relate to your content and not someone else's. So that could be me talking about quitting my 9 to 5 and starting freelancing, and then a little sentence about that journey is going to make that content so much more relatable than if I didn't have that. But this is optional, because obviously in every video you can't tell a story about a personal experience, but it is something to consider. So ask yourself this when you're writing your scripts. Will this script need a personal experience or some kind of evidence that I want to convey with my audience? And then as soon as you've done your value or your story, end the video. Don't drag it on. End with a twist, end with something that keeps them excited. If you're good at editing, you can also do a loop where it flows seamlessly between the start and the end, so it looks like they're just rewatching the video. But yeah, you don't want to drag the video on. If you've conveyed your value, end the video, especially with short form content. Call to action, again, optional. But if you're selling something or you want the follower or audience to do something from your video, you want to tell them what to do next. You want to have a call to action at the end. So this just tells them whether to comment down below, to receive a lead magnet, whatever it is you're doing, have your call to action at the end. So in the Notion doc, what I've done is, in this exact format that I've explained to you guys, I've created a ChatGPT prompt. Now this is the prompt that I created when I did my 30-day series. And this made it so much easier for me because I would have an idea, I would write down my idea, and then I would just put that idea into ChatGPT and it would spit back the idea to me in the format that I just showed you guys. So you can write the idea or topic in your own words. So write it in your own words and understand what you're talking about. If you don't want to do this by yourself, then put it into ChatGPT, copy and paste the prompt that I'm giving you on Notion. In this part here where it says insert your topic or idea, just insert your topic and it's going to give you the script in the format we just talked about. I've also given you 30 empty templates. This is the exact one that I used when I did my 30-day series. So I had these templates filled out with all my topics and ideas. So I know exactly when it comes to my Sunday that this is what I'm talking about. 7 at a time, bang. Next one, 7 at a time, bang. So this made it so much easier for me. So this template I'm also giving to you guys. I want to talk about what makes content creation viral. So obviously, we want to go viral to get a larger audience who we can eventually sell to if that's what our goal is. But there's certain things that make content go viral. And it really comes down to these things here. Metrics, creating the actual content, and emotion. Let's talk about metrics. So shares over likes. Content that gets shared to stories and friends can spread quickly and improve your views. The shares is easily the most important metric. So if you're trying to create content that you really want to like go viral and create a lot of views, ask yourself, is this shareable? We all share videos with our friends every single day. And there's a reason we're sharing those videos because it's evoking an emotion within us. Like we want to show our friends this so they feel what we just felt. So ask yourself, does your content make someone feel something that they're going to share this with their friend? Or is it giving enough value or insight that they're going to share the post? Because if your post gets a lot of shares, it's going to blow up. Watch time is another metric to just keep mind of. So Instagram and other platforms care about how long people are on your content. It kind of links, they all link with one another. Again, if you have more comments, that just means more people are on the video because more people are scrolling. More comments means more people are scrolling for a longer time. So these are just some metrics to keep in mind when you're creating your content. Then the actual content creation piece. Now, I'm not telling you guys to all go buy cinema cameras and be videographers and editors, because honestly, the most viral creators shoot on an iPhone because it's more relatable. It's more relatable to shoot on an iPhone than to shoot on a camera. Because when someone watches your video that's shot on an iPhone, they save it because they can recreate it. Not everyone has a $5,000 camera to go and shoot a cinematic video. So this is a good point to remember if you're worried about camera gear and all that. But even if you're shooting on an iPhone, I would prioritize audio first. Invest in a good mic, DJI wireless, whatever it is. Audio is more important than video because if you don't have good audio, you can't get away with it. But you can get away with a video that doesn't look the best. So invest in your audio, and then obviously you want to have your videos looking sharp. So if you're shooting on an iPhone, this is not an issue at all. If you're shooting on a camera, obviously it's going to be fine. So what a lot of people forget is the audio. I see a lot of iPhone videos without a mic, and you hear, that's where you can hear a drop in the audio quality. So if you are an iPhone creator, and you are going to be talking or doing voiceovers, microphone's going to be your best bet. Over time, you will get better at editing. Whether you're editing on CapCut, whatever you're doing, the more reps you put in, the better you'll get at editing. If you have an editor, this is something you don't even need to worry about. But a good thing to remember that's easily going to help your videos stand out is B-roll. So try to incorporate as much B-roll as you can to help your video flow. It's the easiest tip that I could give you guys, being a videographer myself, is B-roll is everything. And it helps your video flow, it helps you tell your story. And all you have to do is just show a scene of what you're talking about. So if you're talking about running, just have a clip of you running. It's all you have to do, and it's going to make the biggest difference in your video. So these are just some things to remember when you're creating content. To evoke emotion. So again, touching on audio, create a perfect beat drop and have the right type of song to match your video. Just a basic principle. There's something satisfying about a beat dropping in a song and you have a visual that matches that beat, or like something crazy happens in your video. Now, this is such an easy thing to do. Like during your hook, you want to have a build up, beat drop for value. So this, without you even knowing, it's emotionally giving people a sense of satisfaction when they watch the video. Like it wants them to keep watching. You're literally getting someone to stay on your video just from a song. So it's such an easy win in terms of getting an emotional response. Be inspirational. So inspire people through your craft. Like all of you are good at something. That's why you're here. So show it off and show off your skills and knowledge, because people will appreciate everything you're doing and the hard work that you've put in. So show that off through your content, whatever it is that you're good at. And then have visuals to convey emotion. So show off beautiful visuals through your content. If it's sunsets, if you're absolutely jacked and shredded, or you have an awesome desk setup, like show these things that's going to excite people. It's going to be like, people are going to be like, that's sick. If you have this kind of visual connection with people, it's also a way to get them to have an emotional connection with your content. And we all know this one, controversy. So I think this is a good one, because obviously this means more comments, more shares, more chance of going viral. Can it stir up a lot of emotion? It doesn't have to be anything crazy. You don't have to go and make something like, oh my God, like say something completely bullshit just to get controversy or people stirred up. It can just be enough to encourage somewhat of a small debate. And you want to be careful with this one, because if you're constantly someone who just posts controversial things, then you will become known for it, which is going to damage your personal brand. So controversy, comparisons, things like that is a good way to, increase the engagement on your content. The secret sauce for virality is just a combination of these things. If you combine a video that conveys insane emotion in a high quality video that really boosts those metrics we talked about, then you're going to have a winner. Obviously, you can't make every video go viral. That's if you can, that's insane. Then I think you should be taking the class, not me. But basically, if you can, because I've noticed in some of my videos that have done really well, when I watch them back, I can see this. I see this in the video. So the more you can understand this, look at the creators you're most inspired, start to understand, pick their pinned posts, the ones that have millions of views. Break it down, you'll start to see this, or you'll start to feel this in those videos. And that is the secret sauce. Then you'll have a winner. And we all want a few viral videos. One viral video will change your life. The reason I'm saying this is because majority of your followers are going to come from one video. So basically, to give you guys an example, what are we at? 32, I'm at 32,000 now. One of my videos is on 650,000 views. That one video has given me 18,000 followers. So, but in order for me to get those followers and have that video, I have to be posting content consistently. So you want to be posting content consistently so you can have that viral video, which is going to boost your audience. One viral video will change your life if you're putting in the reps. When it comes to content creation, obviously shooting, camera gear to buy, lighting, audio, all the technical details, which if I start covering in this workshop, we'll be here till tomorrow. So what I've done is I've put together a full guide, which I'm going to be giving to you guys as well, with everything you need to know if you're not across it in terms of editing, camera gear, shooting on an iPhone, export settings, literally like everything you would need to know to go and create content is in this guide. I've also included my LUTs in there. So if you guys want to make your videos look a bit better, you can just use my iPhone LUTs and my cinematic LUTs. Everything I know or everything I've learned in terms of content creation to help someone get to post their first 50 videos is in here. So you guys will have access to that. All right, a recap. Ideation and niche creation, finding your one of one niche, your dream follower, building a content system that enables you to be consistent, putting it all together through your content pillars and posting is what's going to give you the best results. So create content. So this is where you stop planning and do the work. So at the end. So if you can implement everything that I've talked about today in something like a 30-day series, I can guarantee you're going to see the results that you want. And that leads me into part 4, which is the 30-day challenge. Now, most of you, this might be something you don't want to do, it could be a lot for you, but I would recommend it just because it's going to help you take action and put into work everything that I just said. I would recommend doing a public announcement. This will help with accountability because once you post online that you're going to do it, you kind of have to do it. Otherwise, people just won't trust you. So a public announcement will be great if that's something you want to do. What will help if you are thinking about doing a 30-day series is create 7 videos before you start. Create 7 videos before you start because that's what I did. So this is going to take away all the stress and all the anxiety that you might have about doing something like this because you're always going to be a week ahead. So there's literally no way for you to fall behind as long as you're doing the work every week. Some people that I've spoken to wanted to have 30 videos ready before they started. That's also a great option because then you have literally nothing to worry about. All you have to do is post. Always stay 3 to 4 videos ahead if you are going to be creating on the go. Because the main drawback of a series like this is not keeping your word. So just always being ahead is going to alleviate any of those issues. Commit to finishing regardless of the results. So if you get to day 15 or day 20 and none of your videos have popped off, commit to finishing because I promise you will learn things from doing that you wouldn't have learned unless you finished. Like if you commit to something, I mean, it's not only this, whatever it is in life, stick with it because even if nothing comes out of it, the fact that you finished is going to give you a feeling that you would have never got unless you did it. So commit to finishing regardless of the results and review what worked and what didn't at the end. You're only going to get better from taking action and learning and failing. So finish it, review it at the end, and then you'll know exactly what to do for the next 30 days or the next 60 days or whatever you choose. But I strongly believe if you can do something like a 30-day series, it's going to teach you so much because I'm just talking from what it did for me. It's literally opened up so many doors for me just by posting these videos. Like so many more people are reaching out for things, for work. Now we're running live workshops in 2 months. We're going to be coaching people one-on-one. It's insane. So all of this is just through me committing to one simple thing that literally only took 1 month out of my whole life. And now it's potentially going to change the course of everything I do from here. Now, if you have less than 10,000 followers, again, another great reason to do it. Keep your content broad with viral potential. So really focus on those viral metrics that I spoke about. when you're creating your content. To give you guys a good example of this, obviously I make filmmaking content, right? If I post a video using a camera or about a camera, I automatically eliminate majority of my audience that isn't shooting on a camera. But if I post a video shooting on an iPhone or about an iPhone, think about how many people in the world have an iPhone. I'm not only reaching my dream follower, I'm not only reaching my niche, but I'm reaching the people outside of my dream audience. I'm reaching people who aren't in my niche but have an iPhone. They might be going out on the weekend and might want to use their iPhone in a certain way. So this is what I mean by making content that has viral potential, but is still within your space and within your niche. So start to understand these things. And literally one viral video is going to take you over 10,000 followers. You literally just need one video. So if you have fewer than 10,000, yes, start to think of something in your space that is broad in terms of how people are going to be using that knowledge outside of your specific niche. So that's what I would recommend. All right, that's a wrap. Thanks so much for joining, guys. Really appreciate the support. I hope you guys took something useful away from that. I am going to be opening up coaching spots in July. Currently 2 spots available. If it is something you guys are interested in and you need a bit more guidance and help with your content creation, personal branding journey, send me a DM. We can discuss further about this, but you guys will see this on my socials. But we're taking 2 students in July, so super excited for that. Super keen to see how we can recreate the same results. Yeah, so if that's something you're interested in, just shoot me a DM. Thanks, guys. Let's open Q&A. And let's unmute if you guys have any questions at all. I will be sending an email to all of you with all the resources that I just spoke about. So there'll be a Notion document with literally everything. I can actually show you guys right now. So let's go here. So this is a document I'm going to be sharing with all of you. Everything we talked about. So if you want to finding your niche, this is what I want you to go in and fill out. And by the end of it, you'll have a better understanding of your niche. Let's go back. Yeah. Oh, I'll show you guys the ChatGPT prompt, which you can copy paste in. This will help you if you're someone who struggles with scripting. So basically, I want you to go fill out your hook, your value, personal story, optional, start and ending, CTA, and Instagram caption. This is an important one, actually. Write out your Instagram caption in your script because, trust me, this is something you don't want to be thinking about when you want to post content consistently. And add any inspiration from other creators or videos that you want to replicate for that style of video that you're creating. I would put this here at the end. And one more thing I wanted to show you guys. So when you're putting this prompt into ChatGPT, this part is your script, but at the bottom, I've also included some other things that I believe will help you. So that obviously we have your Instagram caption, so it'll take care of your Instagram caption, which you can just modify afterwards. And then your real flow idea. This is helpful because sometimes you might be editing your video and you might not know the flow of the video or how you want the video to actually look. So what it's going to do for you is it's going to give you a few pointers in terms of how you should structure it, which B-roll should go where, which part should have your talking headshots, whatever it is. It's going to give you a pretty good summary, which you can just play around with. And then text overlay, if you need any specific text overlays over certain parts of the video to emphasize your point, it's also going to give you some ideas for that. And if you're doing talking videos, I would recommend having subtitles. It just makes your video a lot more engaging. And this is, again, diving deeper into how I want you guys to write your scripts. This content creation guide, which I talked about before, is a pretty big one. So go through this in your own time. It's got everything from the camera gear that I recommend that you guys should buy based on your budget, microphones, lighting, all of that stuff that we know we need. Editing, some basic editing things that I want you guys to be across, whether you're editing on your iPhone, your camera, whatever it's going to be. And also your export settings, IG safe zone templates. So yeah, be across your export settings, because this is an easy way to make where your footage isn't going to look the best. So go through your export settings and really make sure all of those are dialed in, and your iPhone settings, your camera settings, because this is an easy way to improve the quality without really doing much. But yeah, I'll be emailing that to you guys, so you'll have everything. Any questions? What does Sandu say? Video for the script versus WhatsApp or X, for instance. I mean, I personally use ChatGPT for my scripting because I find it the easiest, because so what I do is I tell it what my idea is, and then it just gives it back to me in that format. I've never used WhatsApp for scripting or X. So, I mean, it's really up to you, to be honest, whatever you want to use. But if you can follow a similar structure to what I've shown, you should be sweet.
Yeah, I got a question.
Yep.
That work? Yeah. Do you think that, because I know in your videos you put like the actual day in the content, do you think that helped with like follower retention for you, or like you don't think it matters? Because I know, like, say it's day 7, do you think that helped people go back to your profile and watch the other ones and like engage with you? Because like I want to see the rest of the series, or you think it doesn't matter?
I think it definitely helps. It's a good question. I think public accountability, and then getting people to follow along your series. So in every video, having the day, it's going to encourage them to follow you, or more of a chance to keep engaged, because they're going to stay around for the series. Whereas if you're not saying it, they might miss it. So I would recommend, if you have announced that you're doing something like a series, then I would recommend putting the day in the caption and in the video, and say it as well. Say it out loud.
All right, Matt.
I got a question as well. Yes.
Yeah.
So you mentioned the one viral video where you got the majority of new followers.
Yeah.
Do you feel like Instagram, once you do get a video like that Instagram then indexes your content for that audience, and then it becomes tougher to make, I guess, content that falls outside of that scope? So obviously that was iPhone cinematography. Did you
Yep.
find that after that you felt like you needed to make more videos about iPhone cinematography?
100%. It's a good question as well. I did find that actually. I don't think it really indexes, because I've had other videos outside of that scope that did well as well. But what I think it does is it obviously draws a certain pool of people who aren't going to be interested in your other content. But I think what you need to remember is, it really depends on like what your goal is. So if you're trying to build a personal brand and you want to build that relatability, you need to have content that shows what makes you you. But you're going to have to eventually play the game like a little bit if you want to just increase your follower numbers. Like, I kind of know what kind of content I need to post if I want to just go and grow my audience right now. Whereas that's not going to essentially make me money or like monetize my business. You know what I mean? So it's interesting one, because the content that actually is going to make me money is the content that doesn't do well.
Yeah.
But in order to give people social proof and validation to like show that you have authority in the space, you want to create content. Like, you want to create those viral pieces of content as well. And listen, you might have a video that does viral and makes you a lot of money, because it just happens to be directly related to a product that you're selling. So I think that's where it's important to you have to just kind of understand like that you're playing a little bit of a game. Yeah, I think there is specific content that does better than others, but I think I don't think it specifically indexes your content. I just think it just based on like who it's reaching. Exactly.
Gotcha.
One thing I would I didn't touch on, which I would recommend, is trial reels. So I don't know if you guys have been using trial reels. So for a lot of these videos I did during the 30-day series, for some of them I created multiple versions with different hooks. And then I would post them on trial reels like a day before. So I'd give it, with trial reels, you want to give it at least 24 hours. Give it 24 hours before you post it. Otherwise, it's not going to have enough time. But trial reels really helps because, so one of my first videos that did well, I posted 4 versions of it on trial reels. One did particularly better than the other 3 within the first 2 hours. And I only changed one thing. I changed the first clip. Like that was the only difference. And that video went crazy. But I wouldn't have known which one which one to post without doing trial reels. So if you
Wait,
haven't,
what's trial reels?
so trial reels, do you have that option on your Instagram? So when you go to post a reel, it says post as trial reel.
Okay.
So essentially what it does is it posts your video, but it doesn't show it to your audience. It only shows it to non-followers.
Oh.
So it shows it to a pool of followers. It shows it to a pool of people who are not your followers, right? So you can post, like you can even repost old reels. Like you could go on trial reels now and just pump all the reels that you've posted in the last like 6 months, right? Because none of your followers, like I won't see it. No one else will see it. So it's going to bring in that engagement, but it's also going to give you, I think where it comes in most helpful is like understanding which videos are going to perform. If you're editing a video and you're thinking about like different versions of it, make the different versions, especially with the hooks, and then run them on trial reels for 24 hours. The one that gets the most views, make that one live. So this is a good way to have a better chance of your video performing because you already kind of get some validation before your audience actually sees it. So highly recommend using trial reels.
One of your challenge videos it actually came up. I think you had posted it as a trial reel because I wasn't following you at the time that you were doing the challenge.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I figured that it was a trial reel. So yeah, definitely can attest to the fact that it works.
Yep. Yeah. So trial reels has been huge. Most of my videos now, and so if I'm making a piece of content and I know that this piece of content is not for my current audience, it's more broad. Like it's more, I wanted to get more reach and I wanted to, we can get into, I'm sure, I know Bailey and Rudy would be across this, but you have your funnels, your top of funnel content is perfect for trial reels. Whereas your bottom of funnel is going to do shit on trial reels. So I think it's really just understanding when to use it and what, because obviously it's going to take you more time to create 4 versions of the same video. But yeah, if it's something that's top of funnel and you want it to reach a large pool of audience, then run it on trial reels before you post it.
You like your content, you said that you like plan on a certain day. Do you also like batch like film all your content in different videos and things like that on one day as well?
Yeah, so you mean on the Sunday? Like
Yeah, on the Sunday, yeah.
yeah. So on the Sunday I will do all of these videos. So I have my setup here in my desk with my camera here. So I'll film 7 concepts. So most of my videos that you guys have seen would have been like, I'll be talking and then it'll just have B-roll over it, right? So I'll film all those talking parts on the Sunday by just going through my scripts. And then if any of those 7 videos need screen recordings, need overlays, or need B-roll that I can do from home, then I'll do that on the Sunday as well. So,
Yeah, fair.
so the only thing I will do outside of the Sunday is if I have a massive pool of B-roll already because I filmed myself just going out, training, getting coffee, all that stuff, which I can access as well. But if I want new B-roll, if I want fresh ideas, or if I'm going out with my friends, then I'll do that during the week. So anything outside of my house will just be done during the week, but it's not really intentional. I'm going to do that task anyways, and I'm just filming it. Like I went to the coffee shop yesterday and I was editing there, but I just filmed myself editing and like having a coffee, and that's my B-roll for which you guys will probably see in the next few videos. But
Yeah,
I try
fair.
but the headache stuff is the stuff you want to get done, like the stuff like me talking, doing a voiceover. Now, the thing to remember is there might be some weeks or some days where you have a video idea that doesn't work with your content system. Like I might just want to make like a motivational edit with a voiceover that I just come up with on the day. But if I have the time to do that, then obviously I can just go and do that. The content system just gives you that structure to make sure you're always good in terms of content, and anything extra is just a bonus. So if you come up with a concept and you just want to go create it today, that's just a bonus to something that you've already done. So I think that's a good way to like stay on top of your content and really make sure you never fall off the wagon. Now, I know we did talk about, I mean, does that answer your question? Sorry.
It does, man. Yeah, it does. Yeah.
All right, awesome. We spoke a lot about everything we've talked about applies to short form content, but you can take the principles to YouTube. Like I know Rudy has a YouTube channel. I know Bailey has a YouTube channel. Obviously, you might not post 7 YouTube videos, but you can apply the same principles to your 1 YouTube video a week, your 1 email newsletter, whatever it's going to be. You can apply the same systems to your long form content. Yeah. Any other questions?
Do you have a system like how you got different pillars? Like, what if is there like, oh, I should do this pillar this week, or is it just like whatever you kind of find inspiration on doing the video on your post, or do you have a system in terms of what pillars you're touching and when?
Yep. So how I do it, just during my 30 day series, I only did 1 pillar. So during my 30 days, because I wanted it to be very specific, I wanted it to be about helping other people creating content. So I did my whole series on 1 pillar. But now, since I finished the series and I'm just posting, I like to have a good mix during the week. So I might do, it really depends on like what I feel like creating, to be honest. But I will try and include at least 2 to 3 videos about my main interest, which is like content creation, helping others, providing value. And then I would like to include a couple of videos of like lifestyle, fitness, mindset. And I think it's really up to you how you want to do that. You're going to notice that the ones that you create about your main interest perform well. It's more top of funnel content, whereas the other ones don't perform as well, but that's what makes people stay on your page and really connect with you. So I think it's up to you. Just create a system where you have a good mix of everything going out every week. That's how I would say it. It is some weeks for me, like I might, for example, this week, obviously I was promoting this workshop. So all of my content this week was like about my workshop. So if you have a week where you want to promote something, you might just go within this 1 pillar. But if you have a week where it's just kind of random, then I would just have a good mix of like your different content pillars. Thanks so much, guys, for joining. Appreciate it. I'll send you guys an email with all the resources. If you have any questions, shoot me a DM.